landscape photography world, the podcast for everyone passionate about landscape photography. I'm Grant Swinburne. I'll be your host on this show, talking to landscape photographers about their motivations, the reasons behind their creative decision making, and what photography means to them. Ben Moore, a self-taught photographer with a passion for urban architecture, shares how his journey from a love of drawing evolved into a career behind the lens. Driven by a fascination with the built environment, Ben's work captures the unique character and personality of structures, celebrating the artistry, engineering, and design of cities. In this episode, Ben reflects on his creative process and the challenges of working as a freelancer, from finding clients to maintaining momentum in a competitive field. He discusses the inspiration behind his upcoming book on London's architecture and how his images reveal overlooked details that tell deeper stories of a place. Ben also highlights the importance of networking, the lessons he's learned along the way, and the role of persistence in building a sustainable career. This conversation explores not only the aesthetics of urban photography, but also the human connections that give meaning to these spaces. Ben's reflections provide valuable guidance for emerging photographers and a reminder of how powerful and transformative it can be to see the world through fresh perspectives. I hope you enjoy the show. G'day, Ben. Welcome to Landscape Photography World. Thank you for coming on the show.
Happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolute pleasure. I'm really interested in some of your work. I've seen a bit of a sample. I know you've got a book coming out, and I want to talk to you about that a little bit later. But why don't we start with who Ben Moore is and why is Ben a photographer?
I have an art background, really. Like I used to, back in my school, I always had a pencil, I had a piece of paper, I always was drawing. In church, my mum would take me to church on the week, on the Saturday, and I'll be drawing through that. And I just had this kind of, I just became really good at drawing, and I love drawing. And photography didn't come until later on. It was more like my creative background was that. I used to do art. Art was like my favorite lesson in school.
Yeah.
And I wanted to pursue in a way. And photography came because of that, really, because of my art and my creative background that I have. Yeah.
Cool. So what sort of things? Was it mainly drawing, or were you painting? What sort of things were you?
Not painting.
Right.
No, not painting. It was drawing, but it was all record. I was good at drawing things exactly how I saw them. So it'd be like motorbikes, it'll be like faces, portraits, it'll be anything that I thought would look cool. I will draw it. Do you know what I mean?
Nice. And so where did photography come from? Where did that start and why?
Became really later on, because I even remember when I was in college, and as a part of I did like an art and my intermediate course, and they had that photography as like you have to do like a GCSE an add-on. I chose photography, but I was not interested in it at all. I didn't care. I was just doing it to get the grade. I just did not have no interest, and I thought that when I think about it now, I think, why did I pay attention? But it just wasn't the right time. And I think everything has the right timing. Everything has a time and a place to hit you. So it's always good to think. Some people think, if I only knew about this 2 years ago, but like you wasn't ready to know about it then. Do you know what I mean? So photography came when I'm a bit of a gadget head. I have so much gadgets, Apple this, watch this. So when I was there, I used to love my gadgets. And I never had a digital camera. I never had a DSLR. And my kids were running around, so it was like a good excuse to buy one, is to take pictures of them. So I always had a camera with a fixed lens, never one that interchangeable. Just gonna get one and just try and do something with it. And then I've got it, and I struggled like hell because I was thinking, what is this? All my pictures are terrible, blurry. I don't understand what's going on. And I felt I had this it put this fire in me. I was like, no, I need to get better. And I'll see pictures, people with better images. I'll be like, what do they do? Like, you're trying to copy what they're doing, what lenses, what camera, and it's nothing to do that. It's all about learning, and it just put me on that journey, put me on that path. And that's where it came from, basically.
Okay. So you got the camera to get photos of the family and so forth, and I guess record other things during your day. Where did it start to become an artistic pursuit? Because we've all
Yeah.
got cameras in our phones and everything, and anyone can just take a snapshot. But at some point, photographers go, or people that call themselves photographers go, there's something more. What was that like for you?
So it was probably, we used to take the kids always to the park. I love taking them to the park. They'll play and swing and all that stuff. I always take my camera and I'm like, yo, this is an opportunity to get some shots, some action shots, because the kids will probably get sick of me taking shots of them by now. So I have to be clever with it. And then there was one time I took this shot of my daughter where she was just coming down the slide and she held her face like that. I went, hold your have it right. And she held it. And she looked right at the camera and I was like, oh my day. It just blew me away how the shot came out.
Yeah.
And so I posted it online on Facebook. Everyone's jumping in the comments. Oh, this is so cute. And I'm like, the feeling, that felt so good. And I was just like, that was it. I wanted more of what that felt like. That feeling of creating something and getting that praise for it. It got me hooked. And I was like, okay, now I need to keep doing that. I need more. I need more. What else can I take? And then you're just searching for the next shot that's going to give you that kind of dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And that spawned me on. And then from then, it was just trying to find things that are interesting to me to take photos of.
Okay.
It's put me on that path.
Yeah. So in terms of what you're doing now, how would you describe your photography to somebody? Is it broad, any subject, or narrowed down to architecture or street or urban landscape, or what? How would you describe it?
A lot of people say it's architectural. I say it's a mix between urban architecture. So it's more about finding the kind of gems in the rough places. So I love back streets. I love finding cool buildings or cool walkways in areas where people would just walk past and not give two looks.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm showing, I try to show places how I see it, and I'll give people my vision of what I love, that cool goth like vibe, that cyberpunk kind of city. And when I see films, a lot of it's inspired by the movie. Like when I see films, like even like these Batman films where they'll make the city look in a certain way. Wow, where's that? And it's just, but the way they dress the city in a certain look and give it that filter, to give it that kind of, you're like, yo, like I try to do the same thing with my photography. I give it a filter that I edit and I give it a certain look. So you look at it and be like, that doesn't look how it normally looks, but that looks really cool. And that's what I'm trying to get out of. That's what I feel like with every image I take, I'm trying to get that feeling that I want in my head of, yeah, that looks so cool. I love the way that looks. And it's just about a feeling I have about an image. When I take it, I want it to look a certain way.
Yeah, yeah. And so what's photography in your life now? Career, hobby, what is it?
It's grown into a career now where I do it. It's a daily thing. Yeah, I do it every day and searching for jobs and the next work, the next paycheck. And it's a daily grind, daily hustle for me. Yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy. But when you get that feeling, you do get that feeling though. You do get that feeling. It's nice.
I'm pretty sure anyone that's listened to this podcast knows that it's not easy. To me, they've definitely heard it from other people as well. And that hustle of trying to go and dig up clients and find new ones or get repeat business, etc. What's that like for you now? Is it easier than it was when you first started? Is it becoming harder with the advent of other technology and the competition and the saturation of imagery out there? Where does it feel for you now?
That's a good question. I feel it's different. It's different because I feel like when I started out, it was more like trying to get people to even hire me, and I'm charging way lower than I'll charge now. And they're still getting umming and ahhing, and you're like, what is going on? And a lot of things was like your portfolio wasn't this or that. Now it's a different book. Like I have partnerships, I have brand partnerships, I have brands and what I talk to for work and on a regular. So it's not about that. It's more about, it's a different kind of game, if you get me. So it's like you can't just directly approach that brand. You have to come in a different angle or a different way, or they approach you. Yeah. So it's the same game, but it's just a different level now.
And interestingly, how do you do that balance between what you're really passionate about and the stuff your client wants that says, all right, I want this, and you've got to get that balance between doing what it is that you really love and bringing that to the client.
It depends on, sometimes they do have the direction because they are paying me. So they do have the creative in the end, what they say is fine. Like, I've been in situations with a brand where I've said this and that, and then it's been like and then in the end, I just have to go with what they say. I can let my creative outlet come out when it's an open brief or on my own creative works or my own projects. So you always got to remember they're your client, they're the ones paying you. So you have to actually abide by what they want. You're delivering a service for them now, and that's the bottom line at the end of the day, really. Well, I'm not going to fight though for my creative look. And then they just go, okay, we're not paying you then. It's like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Do you want to pay your bills or not? Like,
Ultimately, you've got to give in some
100%.
Yeah.
I will do as much as the freedom they've given me to. If they say, oh, we love your style, I'll give them my style. If they say, okay, now can you just tighten it up? We need this and this. It's your image at the end of the day, or it's your project.
Yeah. I guess the thing is, you're not going to put something out there that you're not proud of.
And I hear what you're saying, and sometimes it is tough where you're like, people come up to you and go, oh, we saw that thing you did for us. How come it was like that? That's what they wanted. It's not my fault. I couldn't do anything. They wanted it to look like that. You know me, that's not my style, but I had to do what I do for them. And then they ask you, obviously they play nice though. And it's like, people don't understand. People don't understand. People who don't know won't know, and that's just how it goes. But it's the nature of the business.
I definitely get it.
That's how it goes. You can choose to turn them down. You can choose to say, no,
you can not take the money.
You don't have to. Exactly. You can say, no, that's not my style. And some people are in a great position where they can do that.
Yeah, yeah. Is it important for you to have goals in your personal work? Not so much for the commercial stuff that you're doing, but do you set yourself goals in your personal work?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's important to monitor what you're doing and not just be all over the place. Try and control the direction of the creativity. I think one of my goals was actually to have a book. Like that was one of my goals earlier in the year. I said I want to get a book, and that's coming to fruition. So I think it's important to monitor your growth as well. Look back and see how the year's been. How's your creativity? How's things going at the moment? So 100%, it's very important. Yeah. Very important.
And I guess in setting those goals, are you looking to experiment with your photography and look at new techniques or different ways of doing things?
It depends. It depends. It depends. I feel like at the moment right now, my images are where I want to be. I'm always taking different images that test my editing style and the creativity I have with the images. I'm always taking images that I don't normally take, going to places I've never been.
Yeah.
And that's always going to test my creativity. So it's always a challenge trying to get stuff. I tell you what, it's so funny is when I'm editing and like all the good stuff that I'm happy with, I'll probably edit those straight away. And then slowly as you get to the other stuff, you find it more challenging to be like, oh, I don't even know if this image is good, or this is like the C-rated image you're working on. You're like, I'm running out of content because like your image is all drying up. And that's a challenge in itself, is finding more content that you've taken, even though you're happy. And there's certain ones that you're like, those are the ones that you lost straight away. They're gone. They're already been shown. And it's about, what else have you got? What else have you got? What else have you got? Keep asking that question. And it's like, and every time I start getting to the air, I'm like, why did I shoot more? Just shot more. And I'm just annoyed with myself. So next time I go out, so I'm going to shoot till like my feet are crumbling. Just keep going out. It's a constant struggle.
How do you connect with the place before you photograph it? Is it go out, or do you do research, or what do you think before you go?
Sometimes I'm thinking, oh, I should have done the research. No. Sometimes it's like I challenge myself and I don't do any research. I try to do it on the side, but most of the time I've either seen shots online already. That's why I know when I go there, because I know there's stuff there. I also have a network of people who are there and they will help me. Like I've got friends in like photographers all over, and they'll be like, yo, Tom, shoot your boss, and they'll just take me to all the cool spots. Yo, let's go. In Berlin, I had so much, I had some guy taking me for architecture, a lot of guys taking me for street photography. And they just took me to where, and then I went out on my own one day. I went out and got some stuff. So it's like, it's nice to always connect. And then when they come back to London, I'll show them on the flip side where all the spots are here, so they don't have to run around searching. Like
nice. I think that's a wonderful thing about photography is the connections you make with other photographers and the things, finding things that they haven't seen in their location, because you go, okay, we'll go to this spot and you go and find this little gem that they haven't seen before. I
love that. Yeah, that's the one. That is a great feeling.
Yeah. So let's talk about the book. How did that start? What you said that you wanted to create a book, that became a goal. What did you then do to put in train what you needed to do to get to where you are now with it?
So what happened originally was I got approached by a guy who wanted to create a book with me, and he wanted to do it with the, what's that thing called? Do you know where you got to raise the funds?
Oh, yeah, because
Raise the funds
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Kickstarter. He wanted to do a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And I was all in to him. Don't you want to do it that way? I'm not sure about that. He was all like, okay. And then I'd have to start like creating reels to advertise people, look, buy my book before it's still a big deal. And I just felt like a bit awkward being in that position. Left him on hold. We talked about it. He talked about how much I need. He said I need like 12,000 or something. I remember what it was. But I listened on hold, and then I reached out to Trope, because a lot of photographers I know have already worked with Trope. So I know they work with photographers. Plus a friend who I was talking to recently, he brought out a book recently with Trope while I was talking to them. And I was like, yo, I want that feeling so bad. So then I reached out to them. I just sent them a whole email talking about, I want to work with you, here's my work, blah, blah, blah. And Michelle, she bit. They called me up. We scheduled a meeting to talk about it. But they didn't like my concept. They were like, no, that concept don't work. We've tried it.
Okay.
So then they were talking about, have you got any London pictures? We could do a London book together.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have tons of London pictures. So she was like, all right, if you can get us, I think it was like 200 images that we could put in this book, and we can go from there. I sent them like over 300 and something, 350 images or something like that.
No.
Anyway, after a while, they sent me the contract and they were like, yeah, we'll sign you up on this. And then months later, here we are, nearly at the finish line. Well,
nice. Yeah.
A few more days.
In the selection, I'm really interested in people when they look at their portfolio, and particularly if you're publishing a book or creating a gallery or an exhibition or something, and that process and the thinking that you've got to go through when you're going, this image, not that one, this one, oh yeah, not that one, not that one, yes, that one. How was that process for you? Because you really, did you do that all by yourself?
It was so annoying. It's so frustrating because you find yourself with images that are good enough, but not good enough. You're in that kind of stuck in this kind of, this is good. So what I did,
quite a all you want.
So what I did, I had three folders and I graded them. One was needs work. One was maybe like a middle kind of, and then the one was certified, which was that is definitely going in the book, doesn't need touching. That's in the book. And so I will be working on the other two folders to try and get those images into the final one. And if they couldn't do it, I'll just be like, okay, it's not going to happen. I'll be just working on those ones. So it wouldn't be like I'll get too confused in all of the images, because there was so much, it was getting all crazy. And that's why I got to respect Troll, because when they showed me the book, the first kind of proof, it blew me away, because the way they organized it, in my mind, all the images were all over like scrambled egg. But when they organized it, they just fine-tuned everything and I was just like, you lot made it look. It's like I was seeing my images for the first time. I was like, enough respect to Chotlo for the work they did. They tidied up my mess, basically.
That's awesome. So they went through the process of setting out the layout and everything. What about words? Did you caption each image? Did you just put a bit of a story about why the images are there and what they mean to you?
No, they got some people to write about London in them. It's not really about my story. It's more about the London, the
Place.
feel, the city, the architecture. Yeah, it is my images. It's like a collaboration kind of book.
Well, interesting way of doing it. I think
it's
they're reacting to your images.
yeah, it's my images, the London book, and it's like a collaboration of together our skills together.
Yeah, very nice. And so when's it coming out? How do people get their hands on it?
So it's out September 16th. You can pre-order it now on trope.com.
Okay.
If you just go on there above and across London, trope.com, and you'll see there it's on there. And
fantastic.
Yeah, 16th of September. So not long now. Counting down the days.
Oh, congratulations. And I hope it sells.
Yeah. Me too. But I'm just happy to have a book. Sales and all that stuff. It's nice. It would be a nice cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah.
But the really reason I wanted a book was I wanted something that was just there forever, and someone can look at it and say, oh, look, years from now, 20, 30 years from now, it will still be around in someone's shot on the coffee table somewhere, you know what I mean? And that's priceless to me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you've ticked that project off. What's next? What's the next step? What's the next goal?
There's so many, but I think I still want to travel. I want to finish traveling the world. So there's still a lot of places I need to go. And if another book arises, maybe one that's more devoted to me, that would be great. I think it's just more working with certain brands that I'd love to work with, and just building up the arsenal of images and collaboration in the photography industry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What does success look like to you with your photography? What is success to you?
Success to me is setting up goals and achieving them. No matter how big or small that goal is. It could be I wake up that morning, I'll say, I want to edit 10 images today, and I've done that. That's success to me. I feel like success doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be, it just has to be, I just want to be able to wake up and do what I say I'm going to do. I think I've struggled I do procrastinate a lot. And I feel like I just love when things and life moves forward. That for me is success. I'm doing what I want to do. And of course, living the dream. Like photography has been like a dream for me. And the longer I can live this life, that'll be a success in my book all day long.
Awesome. I'm interested, you mentioned procrastination. What do you do when you're not feeling it? You're sitting there saying, the motivation's gone. What am I doing? I just don't want to do it today. What do you do when those moments come?
They're tough. But sometimes I get caught on the old phone, swiping nonsense on social media, and that is the worst thing probably to do. I usually call my friends. I have a few photographers. We have a little support network where we just talk to each other, find out what each other's doing. We try to give each other ideas. Why did you try this? Why did you do this? Or someone else always seems to know what's good for you, right? Someone who's not in your situation. So I usually talk to them, see what they're doing. Sometimes it's the times all right, we use each other to monitor. Are you getting work? Was it really slow? It's dead. Okay, don't worry, don't stress. I think a lot of the worries, the stresses of work can get in your head and you start panicking. And I think you got to always take your time. Good things take time. Just patient. You got to have a patience. Don't rush everything. Don't be quick to get to where you think you need to be. Let things happen all in good time. And I think talking to them help because they reassure me, and talk to yourself, reassure yourself, and just hopefully things get back, and just try and get a little thing done. I remember I watched this video on YouTube. It's such a good video. It talks about some people choose the analogy of cleaning up your room. The room's a mess. Yep. But instead of cleaning up the room, give yourself a task of just cleaning up one corner or just cleaning the bed. And then once you get that, the momentum will take you to start doing something else, and the momentum will take you to start doing something. So it's always good to if you're struggling because you're looking at the whole thing and it's tin, just take a slice of it and just finish that. And then you'll be like, it wasn't that hard. And then And you use that momentum. It's all about building that momentum and then just keep it the momentum going and going. And then you'll find you'll clean everything, or you get back into the flow of working and everything's all gravy.
Nice.
Very cool.
Love that philosophy. That's fantastic.
Yeah, read the thing. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it works. It actually works.
Oh, absolutely. You just put yourself in that mindset where it's like, all right, I've done one thing, I can do another. And and so on. Yeah.
And it feels like easier as more go.
And it's a great way, particularly when you've got a large volume of stuff to edit, for example, particularly when
exactly
for a client, you've got 550 shots. You've got to narrow it down. They want 5. Okay.
What do you do? What do you do when you procrastinate? What do you do?
I procrastinate a lot. Off, particularly admin tasks. They're the things that I really don't do enough of. But it's a similar sort of tack. I just say, all right, I know I've got a deadline. Even with things like this podcast or whatever, I've set myself deadlines pretty much all my life through my career and everything. So I'm used to working to a deadline. And usually the closer to the deadline, the faster I work. But I also know that some things are going to take time and they're going to take more time to sit down and work through. So setting yourself a realistic deadline that you can achieve, I think, is something that works, and it works for me. And setting up commitments to myself, as well as if it's a client commitment, then that's great. There's always pressure. For yourself, setting yourself that timeline and saying, okay, by this time I need to have done X, whatever it is. And so for me, it's, as you said, it's about just putting one foot in front of the other and walking towards that goal until you get there. And hopefully get it done and get the reward in the time that you'd set yourself.
100%. Being a freelancer, it's so easy to push things back because you've got
particularly
no one to
admin and all the boring stuff.
You've got no one to come on. Get it done. And you're just like, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll do it next week. You know what I mean? But it's been months.
Yeah. So talking about that, I've spoken to a lot of people about having to wear lots of different hats, because when you're a freelancer, when you're working for yourself, you're the CEO, you're the chief marketing officer, you're the email guy, you're everything, you're the accountant, you're everything, as well as the creative side. And you love the creative side, you don't love the admin. Or maybe you do. How do you deal with wearing so many hats and work through all of the bits and pieces that you've got to do to make it crust?
You know what? You just can't get with it. But there are some great bits. When you get a job for you, and then it's like, okay, do I respond? And then you're talking to people, they want me to do this and this, how much would you charge this? And it's all about that. So that can be the fun bit now, where you're negotiating, because you're negotiating to get more money. So you're like a nice conversation to have, right?
Yeah.
And then once they go, now we own you, this is how much, and then it's okay, you got to get to work and be like, okay, I need to plan this, plan that. So that bit can be cool. It would be nice to have someone who does that, who's probably an expert negotiator, to do that for me. But I feel comfortable doing it myself right now, and I've got a lot of experience. I've been doing it from the start. It's been lots of ups and downs in that area, but I feel like you just got to get on with it. You just got to go with it. You got to think there's always going to be the rough side of whatever job there is in the world. There's no perfect job. There's always downsides, and this is just yours. Like when you got the camera, I feel if people, they look at your life, he's running around with a camera, traveling from the globe to globe. And most of the times you just stuck behind the computer, either editing, answering emails, or doing unanimous time.
It's not as glamorous as
the amount that he's behind the computer is just ridiculous. You're just stuck behind the computer, emails, admin, editing. You hardly touch. The camera's just got dust on it, but the thing is, it's completely different from what, like, you spend the smallest time with the camera and the most time behind the laptop. But you got to enjoy the little wins, the little buzzes that keeps you going.
Absolutely.
The dopamines of just getting the project and getting them when they love it. Or you take a picture of someone, or you do a portrait shoot for someone, they're using your headshot, as their profile picture, especially she loves it. Well, it's all those little things make it worthwhile. So you just got to focus on those things and roll with the punches.
Yeah. One of the things a lot of people struggle with is pricing. And you talk about negotiating, and when you started out, you really undervalued yourself. How have you gone about thinking about your pricing and putting a value on your time and your effort?
I'll tell you, it's been a real battle, because certain people I spoke to, I had certain people who I would talk to always first before I give my price, and they've got more experience, and they'll tell me, charge this much. Oh, that's clean. And I'm like, they're charging like about 50% more than I was about to give them. So it's like, but then now I've grown, I've seen that those people are right. So it's always good to talk to people who have more experience in the game than you. It's always good to overprice yourself at the beginning, in terms of whatever price you're going to give them, add maybe 50% or 20, 40% more on top. So they you want them to knock you down.
Because my grandfather always said to me,
when you're
negotiating, if they say yes at the first go, you're not asking for enough.
You blew it. If they say yes, it's really quickly. Look, sometimes that's like you blew it, because like you want them to be like, okay, how about we can meet halfway? You want them to, and I'll tell you this funny story about, I think it was a brand. I can't remember what brand it was. Anyway, they were inviting us to Paris to do some work. I remember it was 3 of us, and we all made a group like on Instagram to talk about what they asked us to do. And we all had to go to different cities. I think I had Paris, this other girl, she had Italy, and my friend, I think he was Berlin or something like that. Anyway, at the end of the project, I was like, hands on the table. What did everyone charge? And I think the girl, she charged like 500, and she got her boyfriend to go with her. Basically, I charged like over $1,000 or something. And I think my friend, he only took the ticket.
Oh, you're joking? Wow.
I was like, girl, why are you talking about this? He said, I was confused. I thought that was like, no, come on, man. The ticket. That's to get you there. To get you there. That had him.
£40 with EasyJet.
He was like, it hurt him so bad. He was like, okay, that's it. I'm never doing that again. I couldn't stop laughing at it. And this just goes to show, it's like, they must have snapped him up so quick.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, they had to knock me down, I think. They knocked me down. Cause I think I said 50, and they took me down. And then I was just like, bro, what are you doing? I was cussing it. I was giving it to him so much. What are you doing? It's not funny. But that just goes to show these companies they won't talk to you. They won't do you an order, even package. They're going to ask.
Oh, yeah. They want everyone little
see if you know what you're doing. See if
you're
clued up with your... this guy doesn't know how much he's worth. Do you know what I mean? That's what they were thinking when they...
Exactly.
Yeah, you always want them to knock you down. You always want them to knock your price down, and then you negotiate. Do not be scared that you're not going to, because some people can get scared that they're going to...
I'm just saying, it's rare in my experience.
Yeah, and I think if they say no, that means they didn't really want you anyway. Because if they really wanted you, they would negotiate, right?
Exactly.
You don't want to work with someone that don't really want you.
Yeah, so say something like, that won't fit our budget. And that's also one of my first questions. What's your budget?
Exactly. You've got to talk. They're allowed to tell you. So I think that process, people need to... Have you heard of the guy called The Future? He's like a graphic designer. He's brilliant at it. I learned a lot from him, and that's what you got to do. Find sources of people who he teaches you how to negotiate with brands and how to get the best value for your content and stuff like that. So he's been a gem. And me and my friend, we always have these conversations. We talk, and we'll be like talking about using negotiation techniques and trying to get them to work. So there's been a lot of learning what to do. But yeah, always charge more than you think you're worth.
Absolutely.
It's the final thing. Always charge more than you think you're worth. Yeah.
I guess the other side of things, aside from pricing your personal brand, what have you learned about marketing your personal brand to other companies and the bigger brands that are out there?
You got to learn that sometimes you're not as big as you think you are. I feel like sometimes you think, whoa, I'm this, and then they just look at you like, no, you're not. And I think like it's all about finding brands that kind of fit you. 'Cause I've got brands where I would be like, no, I don't want to work with them. And it's all about finding the perfect fit. And all of us I found out was you could come with a brand with a great project, and like sometimes it's about timing. It's about they may have plans. You're just coming in with a project and an idea they're not budgeted for, they're not ready to do. So it's all about finding brands which you can help improve them. They're not just there to pay you because you want to be paid. It's a partnership. It's a back and forth. So I always try to think that a lot of people I know they go to brands to find out what they can get. I always try to go brands to find out what I can give, what I can give them. It's a back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like I get a lot of I attract the general public as well when
Okay.
people want learn. They want to learn how I do what I do.
Yeah.
And I do these like little bit of one-to-ones, sometimes calls. People want to be mentorships and stuff. But yeah, it's an ongoing thing. But yeah, a lot of people want to learn how I see things and how I do things. And that's part of where my brand is a bit more. I'm trying to include people in the growth and how to grow as a photographer and how to do what I do. It's how to have a vision.
Yeah, fantastic. What would be the one thing you would tell somebody that was starting out in photography as a business for themselves? What would be the number one thing they need to think about going into that?
I would say rethink your life choice and gender. I would say if they're really serious, I'll say consume as much photography as you can. Like your eyes are your best friends, and you need to make sure you can try to break down a good picture, why a picture looks good, and what there's certain techniques photographers are using to create these images, and you've got to understand what those are, and when you go in the field, what those look like in real life, because it's not going to look like how the guy shot it. So you got to see it.
Yeah.
You shoot it, and I think that is an ongoing training on Will's program is train your eyes to see things in the real world. Consume as much photography. There's so much stuff out there. YouTube, obviously Instagram, even on TikTok. Just consume as much photography as you can, and then start to think about your business in terms of what are you selling? Are you selling images? Are you selling content? Are you selling just a work like a trade? Are you training people to do what you do? And think about how your business model is going to work in line with what your vision of photography is. It's a deep, ongoing, personal project that is, because that could take you your whole a few 4 years to learn at what your business model and what you're selling is. But it's always something you've got to be thinking about, because your photography, I think you got to think like photography is a bit deeper than just taking a photo. It's more showing people your vision, showing people, what you want them to see, and then having a backlog of work that actually supports that, rather than just taking one random image. It just looks like you fluked it. When you see one of that, you want to see, okay, let me see what else he's got. Okay, this person's, okay, they know what they're doing. They do this a lot. And it turns you from an intermediate to a professional, when you can see that this person's got a backlog of images and he's able to replicate this wherever he goes. It's a different animal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome. I'm interested in places that people like to return to. Is there a place that's close to your heart that you're always drawn back to?
I think New York, I went there like twice in the space of half a year. But I think London obviously is a go-to, but that's because I live here. I think it's more about what's there in terms of the cityscape. Like, I love my cityscapes. I love concrete jungle. I love architecture. So wherever those things are, I don't mind being there. Even though I shot in Iceland. I've shot in Scotland.
Oh, yeah.
Scotland. Yeah, Scotland, and sort of areas where there's no building, but it's a different challenge. I think it's good to challenge yourself. You can make a decent image anywhere, but obviously it's nice to also get out your comfort zone, because if you stay in your comfort zone, you're not growing. You're just doing the same thing. So yeah, it's nice to shoot everywhere and go new. I think new places are the best for me. I love going to old places, but new places are just so fresh and exciting. It's nice to have something in your camera that you haven't got before. It's a great feeling, like something new, something good that they haven't seen before. Because it's always, I do post a lot of reposts and tech. I'm not tech idea. I like to watch fresh stuff. And people are like, oh, what is there? Where is he? He's there. And some people come there, people back home. But yeah, I feel like I like to keep it fresh. It's nice going to old spots. I think I'd say if it was London, Barbican is gorgeous. It's a nice area with lots to shoot, lots to navigate. Also, Bank. I like going to Bank and St. Paul's Cathedral around there is a cool. Bankside's cool as well. There's a lot of spots which we go to too much, but then after a while it gets a bit boring. So I need to broaden my horizon.
Yeah.
What about you?
Sydney's obviously one of my go-to. I'm almost one of the beaches. The nice part about it is I think it's about 75 beaches in the Sydney metropolitan. There's lots of choices. Some of them are really small. Some of them are on the harbour. Some of them are on the surf. So there's a lot of variety. But shooting the city, the Opera House, the Harbour Bridge, they're always go-tos. But you've got to work hard for getting something unique for those.
Yeah. Okay.
A bit like Tower Bridge. You've really got to work hard to get a different Tower Bridge shot or a St. Paul. But there are places where you can go if you know the area. You can dig deep and you can just go, okay, I don't think I've ever seen one from here before. Let's give it a try. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
That's how it goes. That's good.
Yeah. What's the most memorable photography experience that you've had?
Memorable in a good way or bad?
But I want both, actually. I like people as much as I like them.
Okay, so the best memorable moment was when it was foggy in London, but it wasn't low. I think it was low, but it wasn't. And I didn't know, I couldn't shoot it on the ground. I found this park and I threw the drone up and it went right through the cloud.
Nice.
And London was just covered in like this fog, like snow. It looked like snow in the air. Just I was blown away because I like dreamed of having a moment like this. Like we shoot a fog a lot, but to get it covering London like that, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And what was tough, I tell you the toughest thing was that, because in my mind, I'm like a little kid going crazy, but I had to just stop, work, get the settings right, get the compositions right. I didn't even get excited until the drone was like back on the ground, because it's like, I had to capture the moment. I had to work. I can't be excited and work at the same time. It's going to be messing up everything. I was just there. I was just down. I was just sitting in the park like this at the controller, and I'm just like, I'm going to get touched. Can you get a video there? It was overwhelming because you want to do both. Everything you take a photo of, you want to get a video of. Everything you take a video of, you want to get a photo of. And you're just, I went for 2 or 3 batteries, landing it, going back up again. It was unbelievable. It was amazing. Amazing. Yeah, one of the best. One of the worst, not one of the worst, but one I'm probably never going to forget. When I was in New York, I thought it was a good idea to fly my drone, but it was like over the water. Oh, I was super safe. I was super away from people. The only problem was Biden was in town, which I hadn't noticed. So I'd taken all the shots I'd wanted. It was like a park area where these guys were like skateboarding over the side. Landed the drone, all safe, no problems. Put the drone in my bag. I was just like to walk away. Some guy just came out of nowhere and said, you were the drone. It was the Secret Service. Awesome. It's actual secret. I know. So 2 guys detained me. They were talking about the drone. They said basically my drone stopped Biden getting on a helicopter or something. They thought it was someone spying on them or something. I don't know what happened, but they were like, yeah, you just caused the whole problem. I was like, what? So they detained me, and then some more people from the Secret Service had to come and then ask me questions about like why I was here, what I was doing with the drone, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I was there for half an hour waiting because we had to wait for the guys. And then they let me go in the end.
Did they look at the images or did they confiscate anything?
No, they didn't confiscate nothing. They didn't look at the images. They didn't look at anything I took. They just thought I was doing something towards Biden. They thought I was like an attack on Biden. But they said there was another drone up. But the guy was going, there's another one up. And I was like, what is going on? This is crazy. But the guy was telling me, he said, New York is a no-flying zone. I was like, what the hell, New York? How come there's some drone pictures going up there? What's going on? I don't know what's going on. But yeah, that wasn't my greatest moment.
Yeah, it's the same in terms of being a no-fly zone. There's very few places in the city where you can actually fly. And
with the small one.
Yeah, even with small ones, you can get away with it, but you're not meant to. No. Right. I have seen people using their drones and flying in places that I know you shouldn't be there, guys. It's like anything. If you can get away with it, you get away with it.
100%.
So what have you learnt about the world through photography? What's the big lesson in your life from photography?
I think there's a lot to take. I think photography is a universal language. Photography can be a passport to everywhere, and it can be a passport to nowhere. Photography it's important to be noticed. I feel like the internet has made people's photography a bit more easier to get noticed. Like before, I don't know how you get noticed. You'd have to take something. I know people famous. You go, like, how did you get famous without the internet like that?
Yeah.
That's just crazy. But yeah, photography it's become more popular than ever. I feel it's more popular now than it was back then because of the phones, etc. Photography is not a crime. So some people look at photography as a criminal activity. So, like, some countries are photography friendly and some aren't.
Yeah, very.
Like it's easily accessible, but hard to master. So that's why you got so much rookies and only few experts out there. There's so much people doing it, but they're not putting in enough work into it to get to that level of where you're a pro. And that's okay. Not everyone has to be a pro. I feel like Freeze taught me to be patient, taught me to wait, don't rush the moment, and try and enjoy the moment. Because sometimes, like when I was in Europe, I went in a helicopter and I was taking pictures. And I don't even remember the helicopter ride because my head was like this the whole time in a camera.
Yeah.
All I remember is taking pictures. I don't remember the actual moment.
Wow.
I was there to do that, but yeah, it's tough being a photographer a bit sometimes because you get in situations where you want to see it, but you're actually taking pictures of it, so you don't get to enjoy it. You know, so it's a battle. It's a battle. I think there's a lot of takeaways from photography. I'm trying to think. I think it can save people's lives. It can.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's saved my life because I feel like I don't know what I will be doing. But I pick up the camera and I think like it's inspirational. It's so powerful. Sound and vision when you put images with sound, and it's such a powerful tool. And it should be it's a medium that shouldn't be taken lightly. Some people do abuse the photography. Abuse it with fake Photoshop and junk out there. But you're always going to get that. You're always going to get people that want to kind of shortcut to fame with photography.
Yeah.
And that's because of how big it is. That's because of how powerful it is. But yeah, I feel like I'm always learning. It teaches you that you're not as good as you think you are. Because every time you feel you're at a certain level and then you find yourself stumped, but it can stump you and you're like, what is going on? What is going on here? And I feel like you always need to practice. Do not feel like you don't need practice. You need to keep practicing photography.
Definitely.
But yeah, what about you?
For me, it taught me to slow down. That's probably the biggest thing. It really started off, I guess, when I started to get a little bit more serious about it. So about 10 or 15 years ago was about relaxation and taking a breath. Where it's gone now, that slowness has come into other parts of my life and taking time to actually look around, see the world differently, and work has become a lot easier because of those activities that I've been doing in photography. It has really changed my world too, and I think it's just heaps of fun to do too.
Yeah, it is. It is.
What do you see as the biggest challenge facing photographers right now?
I say it's like being recognized, being noticed as like a professional. Like, I saw good your mate saying, "I'll take some photos of me, I'll pay you," but attracting brands and the big dogs to come for you, and that's not easy. There's just so much competition out there for people that want that sort of work. And rightfully, it's a cool thing to be working with BMW or Nike or something like that. But I feel like that is an ongoing challenge because it's so much competition, and the people who work there probably have their mates their friends, they'll get them to do it.
This is it. He works more than
Exactly. Networking is massive. It's massive. Yeah, so that is a big challenge. I think that is where things kind of start. When you start getting attention and you start becoming, oh, look at this guy, he's got so much followers. Let's work with him, stuff like that. It's not impossible, but it's a hurdle you have to overcome. In this day and age, brands don't just want to work with you because you take good images. They want to work with you because you have a massive audience you can bring.
That's right.
And they can sell, they can tap into. So you've got to have that as well, come with that.
Yeah.
It just takes time to build up.
What's the best and or worst piece of advice anyone's given you?
Best piece of advice. I think it was, let me think. I remember it was a lady, the makeup artist. And I remember one day she asked me, this was like when I was first starting out, I was taking pictures at a wedding. She goes, "You're a photographer?" And I was like, and she was like, what? She said to me, "If you don't believe it, how do you expect other people to?" And that's stuck with me forever. But you have to be the biggest fan you have. You have to be such a fan that you make other people fans without no evidence whatsoever. You have to be almost delusional that you're going to do this. And I think like, people are looking at you crazy, man, you're crazy. And it's no, trust me, this is going to happen. And it's from that, you just got to keep it going to the point where they start believing you, go, right, doing this thing. And then you start winning them over. The people that thought you're delusional now want to work with you and want to work. I'll be your assistant. Let me work with you. So you got to believe it. You got to believe it so much. And I think that is number one. That's number one. If that ain't going to work, then you ain't going to, why are you even doing it if you don't believe it? Why even start? You're half-heartedly going into it. You got to go in 100. And what about you?
What, the best or worst piece?
The best
advice I think I've ever got was, it goes way back to when I was learning photography in school, and it was a piece of advice that my teacher basically said, photography is as much about what you leave out of the image as you put in. So when you're doing composition, that compositional thinking that goes into what you're excluding from the image is as important as guided mind looking at the world.
Yeah. That goes for what you want in focus and out of focus as well. It's not just like, I don't want to show that, but I want to show that you're showing the viewer where you want them to look. Pointing them in the direction, saying, "Look at this."
I'm going to add a bit more shade to these corners. I want you looking there, but I'm going to brighten this up so you're looking there.
100%.
But it's also about what's in the corners and what's not in the corners. And I sometimes photograph to crop. Sometimes I get it 100% of the crop that I want in the image. There's images that I'll take, and I might do them in landscape orientation, but I know what I'm actually wanting is a 1-to-1 square. But I might not know exactly where I want that square to start and end.
But you can play with that, right?
That's right.
You can play with that,
around. Whereas if you frame it up and do 1-to-1 in your camera, and you're wrong, you got to go back and
It's so funny you say that because I've had images where I've shot the landscape and I've actually shot them portrait because the image that I wanted portrait was just, it was just a nicer crop. I was like, this is the shot I should have taken there, but I'm like, it went well. What I did, this is crazy, but
Yeah.
photography can just do a number on you, right? Where you're like, especially you come back to the screen and it's just, you're like, this works better like this, even though I shot it like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100%. I love that.
Yeah.
The worst piece of advice. Oh my gosh, probably
Don't be a photographer.
good advice. What you do is press a button, maybe something like that, or something stupid. Oh, your camera doesn't do this because like, what are you talking about? Something camera related where people are like, you can't do that with that certain camera, or your camera's not good enough to do. Or the worst, what? No, that's a question. Usually I get people asking me, you're a photographer, nice camera. Your camera takes good pictures, something like that.
Yeah.
But I think
Love that.
drives me mad. People keep saying this. So I'm trying to think. I don't get a lot of, so people around me you keep the people around you that give you good advice, and that's what I'm not. But I've really,
You throw away the people that don't.
really had bad advice. I really have it. Or we have advice where we're arguing on how it's said. No, it don't go like that. It goes like this. More it's like you don't know what. I don't even know. What about you? Have you had one? You might have one that.
Some bad advice in the time. One was one bad piece of advice was don't shoot events. And to be honest, I think it's not bad advice for certain things, but as long as it's not a wedding, I'm okay with shooting events. I don't have a problem. If there's an event out there and somebody wants me to shoot it, I'll do it. Just not your wedding.
It's bad. Is that because they had a bad experience or something?
I don't know. They just
Some people they give bad advice because they've had a bad experience.
Yeah.
And feel that's crazy. I remember one tip, but it wasn't to me. It was he was giving advice to everyone, and it goes against what you said, and that's why I do not agree with this. He was saying the compositions in camera, every composition, shoot it in camera. Do not crop. He said, don't crop. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Don't shoot to crop. Do it correct in the camera. And I was like, this guy's giving it. And everyone in the comments are like, oh yeah, I never do that. I agree.
I do. I don't think you want to do extreme cropping where you're just focusing. All that does is increase flaws. But if you've got good glass on a good camera and you've got everything in focus and you're trimming around the edges, as I said, I want this to be a square image. Yes, I could shoot it, but I'm not 100% certain where I want the balance. In the field, you don't always have the time to sit there and work out how that frame is going to work.
Yeah.
In landscape, it's easier. But if you're doing an action or a surf shot or something like that, cars or, whatever, you don't have the time to actually sit there and work out, okay, this is going to be a square crop and I'm going to start it here, I'm going to start it there. Oh, sorry, I've missed the moment. So that's one of the reasons why I do it is you shoot slightly wider than you need to, crop out the bits you don't need or that you don't want. And as you said, you're making somebody look at the bit of the image that you want them to look at. It's not, if I want to zoom in on something, then I've got
I just think that piece of advice is super ridiculous because I just feel like the crop is a part of it's part of the creativity process. It's part of the editing process. I'm going to crop whatever I want. I shoot 45 megapixel so I can crop in and still have enough megapixels to have a sharp image. I want to crop if I want to. Then tell me what to do with my image. It's in control of my vision. Yeah, I mean, do what you do, innit? Don't tell me what to do.
I'm doing takes that are about should and should do. Yeah, I don't listen.
Crop it to its one pixel by one. Don't tell me if that's my vision. I don't like. He's trying to put people in a box based on his standards.
Yeah,
and not everyone's even shooting the same thing as him. So how can we even align to his standards? Don't make no sense. That is. I stopped listening to him from that point forward, I was like, hey, watching this guy's videos. I think, do you know who it is? It's the Afro guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. He's a really, it's the problem with some people here. When they become too big, they just get snobbish and they feel like, oh, dude, you got to do what I do. And they're scared. The reason why they do that is because they're scared for someone to be better than them because they're keeping you in their lanes. It's keeping you behind him rather than you go, oh, no, I'm going to do what you told me not to do and then show a better image than you can take.
Yeah. I get where he's coming from in terms of noise and minor flaws in the image. When you crop hard, it does make them more noticeable. So I've watched a few of his videos and I know where he's coming from, and I don't disagree with that. You want it, but mostly if I'm doing a square crop, 90% of the top and bottom of the image is still the same. So all I'm doing is trimming the edges and taking, and then working out, okay, what works for balance. But if I'm doing even if I'm doing a wider landscape shot, still might crop up and get rid of, there's some distractions in the bottom of the field that from where I was standing, there was something there that I wasn't going to go and pick up and move, or wasn't able to pick up and move. I'm going to crop that out, or I'm going to erase it using the magic eraser. But I don't try to tell people what to do with their photography, and
Exactly.
or tell me to do with mine. And
Exactly.
you do what you.
Exactly. Do you watch F-stoppers, the guys on those things? And sometimes they do the constructive critique.
Yeah, the critique.
And sometimes they always go, oh, what do you think about this crop? This might be a stronger crop. And that's the thing. Sometimes the image it has so much fluff around it where it's a lot of dye, a lot of grass maybe. And the crop just makes it more.
Yeah.
It makes the image a stronger image. It's all about the strength of the image. Sometimes with the camera, obviously you're going to try and get the composition right in camera, but the crop can be just stronger. It's a stronger crop. And that's nothing to do with, that's not your fail as a photographer. You've got stuff to play with. You've got room to play with. That's what you want. You don't want, the worst is when you cut too tight and you can't go back. You can with AI. It depends on the image, right? You can't go back and grab more scenery or more of that person. You can't. AI is so ridiculous because you can do all that stuff. But you can't do it now, but it shows, I feel like, even though you can, it shows like next time, I always think next time, just shoot a bit wider so I'm not too tight. I hate being too tight. That's the worst thing you could be. The image is too tight. But yeah, I feel like it's always better to look for stronger crops because sometimes you'd be like, oh, no, it's fine. And then you've got, oh, that looks way better. And you can't even deny it to yourself. It's still your image. I don't know what the problem is. It's the crops assigned to it. Like, this is
the thing is, if you're happy with the end result, then who cares what anyone
That's
else?
all that matters.
That's right.
That's all that matters, right? That's all that matters. At the end of the day, do what you're doing.
What do you like to do when you're not doing photography?
Not probably working out, playing pure games sometimes, playing sports, just going out. I can do a bit of cycling and just watching movies. I love watching movies because I get a lot of inspiration for them, for photography and then just general stuff really, going out with family and eating lots of food.
Excellent. And the photographers out there that you think I need to be talking to?
Yes, I think you've got Darren Boyd. He's goes by Boyd.visuals.
Yep.
He's a portrait photographer and he loves to talk. This guy loves to talk photography. He loves to talk shop. Yeah, he's been shooting for a long time. Very good at what he does. Lots of headshots, lots of models, brandings, and stuff like that. Really good photographer. I've got another photographer. His name is called Peter Lee. Yep. He's architectural as well, but he does these. And he goes to these churches and he takes these. And like he'll shoot there and he'll go all the way over, round, and he puts it in one image. And it's so many. Yeah, Peter
Those
Lee.
interior architecture shots.
Crazy bonkers, and it's like the size of the resolutions of like the file sizes. I'm like, dude, what is going on? But I'm like, I tell him Instagram doesn't do your work justice because it's too small. You need to see that blown up. And there's another girl called Anusi. She shoots street. I think it's Lucy Hammer said. Her name's just Lucy, Juicy Lucy on her Instagram, and she shoots street, black and white, lots of old kind of people. She goes for that kind of old look, like lots of dark, crispy, contrasty shots with harsh light. And she's a street photographer. Lee does a lot of it. She works in Nikon as well. Yeah, I think those three are the ones I'd go straight to.
Awesome. Thanks for
I'll
that.
send you their links.
Yeah, fantastic. I've got one more question for you, and it's one that I've been asking since the beginning of the podcast. Do you like pineapple on pizza?
100% I do. It's great. I love it. The best.
Who wouldn't?
That is, I'm glad that exists in this world.
Awesome. Absolutely wonderful talking to you, Ben. Thank you for letting us get to know you a little bit better and learning a lot more about what you do. Where can people find your work?
Be More Photos, that's how I go about it on social media. And that's on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. My website's bemorephotos.com. Take all Be More Photos. So if you just put that in your computer or your phone, I'm going to pop up and if I get to see my work.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Ben.
No worries. I was happy to be here. Thank you for having me. It's been great. Enjoyed it.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks again for listening to Landscape Photography World. I hope you enjoyed the show, and keep listening because I'll be joined by some great guests in upcoming episodes. You can find my work in this podcast at gruntswinburnphotography.com. I'm also on Vero, Photo, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget to comment and subscribe because it really helps the podcast to get seen and heard. I'm Grant Swinburne. Hope to see you out shooting soon.